You ready for us, Patrick?
I'm ready.
All right, let's start with Pete Sweeney. Go ahead, Pete.
Hey, Pat. Andy had just mentioned how you and Lamar are friends and colleagues, obviously. I was just wondering what that relationship is like, how often you guys talk, and you being a fan of the game, when you have that opportunity on a Sunday Night Football or Thursday Night Football, how much fun do you have watching him?
Yeah, I mean he's a great player. I mean he can make all the throws. He can run with the ball. He can really do it all. And so it's always fun to watch guys like that work hard, put in the work, and they're able to go out there and have success on the field. And then as far as our relationship talking and stuff like that, I mean we kind of have the same endorsements with Oakley and EA Sports, and so we've seen each other through that. And then when you play this quarterback position, it's kind of like a group. I mean it's a tight group where you shoot ideas off each other and stuff like that. So he's a great player, and I look forward to the contest this week.
Let's go next to Sam Mcdowell. Go ahead, Sam.
Hey, Pat. I've got two things for you. The first one I wanted to ask about, you were able to draw the Chargers off sides quite a bit last week, and you've been able to do that a lot during your 3 years. I'm hoping you can answer this without giving anything away, but how much do you work on that, and how exactly do you work on that?
Yeah, we work on changing up the snap count all throughout training camp, and there's some rough days where you're getting a lot of false starts and stuff like that, but it always makes you better whenever the season comes along. And so I have the unique advantage of having a kind of a unique voice that's able to get those guys to jump off side, so I try to utilize that as much as possible.
Then I also just wanted to ask you about the 2-point conversion last week. Can you take me through what you saw in that play, the one that tied the game there in the fourth quarter?
Yeah, we had a play called with a little kind of either a shovel pass or a rollout to throw to Clyde. I was a little nervous at the beginning. Right before the play, they said watch for the shovel pass. I knew that there was a good chance that Bosa was going to come down on that. And so before the snap, even in the huddle, when we were kind of reviewing the play, I had told McCole and Tyreek, I said, I know y'all aren't really in the read. Y'all are kind of the last reads, but make sure y'all continue to work. And so those guys did a great job. And then I thought McCole made a heck of a catch on a ball that was thrown very low and away on him, and he made a great play on it.
Let's go next to Adam Teicher. Go ahead, Adam.
Hey, Pat. Not sure whether Sammy's going to play on Sunday, but if he doesn't, that bumps up one of the younger guys, either Pringle or Kemp. Just wondering how much you've thrown to those guys recently, and whether you feel confident in throwing to them in a game situation if you haven't.
Yeah, I mean, obviously having that consistency of having these guys for the last few years. I've really worked with these guys a lot over these last few years, and I think a good thing that Coach Reed does during practice and Coach Lewis, Greg, I mean, he does a good job of mixing those guys in, even when that might not be their week where they're getting these play calls, they're mixing in and giving those guys rest, but also making sure that they're ready to go. And so that's the good thing about having depth at that position is we hope that we have Sammy back, and I mean, everything hopefully is trending the right way, but at the same time, it's good to have guys that you can trust to be in there and do what they can to try to replace what he gives us.
Let's go next to Mackenzie Nelson. Go ahead, Mackenzie.
Hey, Patrick, I was just wondering, last week you said you didn't really come out the way you wanted to against the Chargers. Is there anything that you're doing this week or working on this week to, better prepare and come out the way you want to in Baltimore?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be all about execution. When you play a defense like this that does a lot of different things, very multiple, do a lot of different blitzes, a lot of different coverages, you have to make sure that you're ready to go and have answers for everything. And so I'll just try to do whatever I can to make sure I'm prepared for everything they can show us. And whenever they give us an unscouted look, try to have a positive play and then get to the sideline and figure out the best way to go about it for the rest of the game.
Let's go next to Blair Kirchhoff. Go ahead, Blair.
Hey, Patrick, just wanted to get you to put on your Royals cap for a moment and have a thought on Alex Gordon, who announced his retirement today. Do you know how?
I mean, he's done everything the right way his entire career. I mean, the amount of Gold Gloves that he's won, seeing him dive around the outfield growing up. I don't want to make him sound old, but growing up and throwing people out at the plate and doing everything like that, and then being able to hit and just being a leader on and off the field. I mean, he's someone that set the example of how to be in the Kansas City community and lead his team to championships and do it the right way on and off the field.
Go next to Seren Petro. Go ahead, Seren.
Patrick, I'm 99% sure I've got this right, but kind of two-part question. One, how's it feel for the first time on one of these Zooms to not be the best athlete on the Zoom? If I'm not mistaken, the guy I see down at the bottom was one hell of a runner and that was my question about running quarterback style. Coach Reed was talking about, the run being a part of, what quarterbacks do in this offense. How much of that is like a design? Like, is there like for lack of a better term, an escape hatch, that there are some plays that routes are designed, one, to get you the ball down the field, but if they're not there, to create those openings like you had on the big 20-yard scramble?
Yeah, I think the good thing about having the guys that I have on my team, the receivers, running backs, tight ends that we have, is that defenses have to be accountable for those guys. And so they're getting depth. They're trying to stop those guys from beating them over the top. And whenever there's room to run, I have to be able to take advantage of it. And it's kind of been the last 3 years of, I usually, when I scramble, I'm looking downfield to throw. So you're seeing defenses now, they're not leaving their guy. They're kind of just staying on them and letting me run. And I don't know if I can run like Mike, but I can run a little bit, enough just to get the first down and get out of bounds.
Got time for a couple more guys. Let's go Todd Lebo and then Harold Kuntz. Go ahead, Todd.
Hey, Patrick, on the snap count stuff that Sam was asking about before, is it easier now as you've watched this go through, playing in front of no fans on the road? Are these things that you maybe wouldn't have been able to do on the road? And what would you compare the noise level to? I know what we heard on TV, but what would you actually compare the noise level to that you experienced in Los Angeles to any other thing that you've done on like during a real game?
I would first part of the snap count. I mean, obviously you get to use verbal snap count on the road, and especially when you're playing places like Baltimore, you're not going to be able to use that because of the crowd, and especially Monday night. So that definitely is an advantage. Only thing that's kind of a disadvantage, you have to change a lot of your code words on a lot of your audibles because everybody can kind of hear you on the TV copy and everything like that. And then you said the second part one more time, second part of your question.
Hold on one sec. There we go. Try that, Todd.
What would you compare it to? I mean, like, how loud was it? They say it's 70 decibels. What's that sound like compared to anything else? Is it louder at practice when you guys pump the music and crowd noise in, or what's it even compared to?
It's like practicing in the locker room with no one else in there. There's literally no noise, and it is different. It's not like practice, because practice you get at least get music playing that kind of gives you something. So it's all about feeding off your own energy, and we didn't do a good job of that last week, but we can't start off like that against this team if we want to come out with a win on the end.
Go to Harold for the last one. Go ahead, Harold.
Hey, Patrick, much has been said about the competition between all the young quarterbacks in this league, especially you had one with Deshaun Watson in week 1, but now with Lamar. Lamar hasn't won one against you yet. I'm not sure they're going to be very determined, but what would you say about if this is kind of a, if you will, a rivalry that you guys are going to be competing against for a long time?
Yeah, I think you heard Coach Reed kind of say it a little bit before me. I mean, there's a lot of young, great quarterbacks in this league, which is awesome because, every single week you're going to get a great challenge and a great matchup. And so it's a little different because when you're on offense, you're never going to go face to face. You never get to go straight up against Lamar, but you know that he's going to go out there and put up points. And so you just have to trust in your defense that they're going to make stops when they're needed. They're going to find ways to do whatever they can to stop all the great stuff that he does. And then as an offense, you know that you're facing a great defense. And so you're gonna have to find ways to put up points on the board. And if you want to get the win.
Patrick, we appreciate your time today. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, guys, we've got Mitchell Schwartz coming up next.